Hello, weekend warriors. Welcome back to the workshop. Today's episode is all about miter joints. Now, we're not going to go into a complete planning of making a full box with miter joints. We're just going to concentrate on making the miter joints and how we can glue them up so they're nice and clean and even and all that good kind of stuff. But the great thing about miter joints is there is no exposed end grain. Makes for a real pretty box. An advantage to miter joints over the two joints that are also really strong is you can cut a rabbet for making recessed bottoms, recessed tops, and that rabbet doesn't come through the face like it does on the other one because you've got it hidden by the miter. So that's an advantage. Disadvantage to miter joints is it takes a little bit more preparation when it comes time for gluing it up because you don't have the mechanical lock between the pieces. The pieces are basically butted up against each other and you're letting the glue do the work for you. Anyway, so it's not going to take very long. It's a real quick project here today. So let's get our little test sample ready to be cut up, and I'll set up the saw and we'll go and do it. I'll hang on. Okay. Here I am at my Shopsmith set up as a table saw. You see I'm going to use my crosscut sled. If you wanted, you could use a couple crosscut gauges or miter gauges with a piece of wood bolted onto them. So just so long as you get a nice even push and no lateral movement, because of course you're trying to cut a nice square 45-degree angle. This technique you can do on a traditional table saw. I could pull out my 8¼ inch Black & Decker mid-80s little table saw and do this exact same thing using a crosscut sled. Doesn't matter. A little different with the Shopsmith though is where with a traditional table saw you crank the blade over to 45 degrees and lock it down. Well, with a Shopsmith you crank the table over to 45 degrees and then lock it down. There we go. That is set to 45 degrees. So I'll lock that down. I will lock the table in place just as soon as I verify that it is in the prime position here. It's not going to hang my blade up. Everybody's going to move smoothly. Blade's still sitting a little bit high. There we go. So lock the position, lock the height, double check, make sure I got the angle locked down, and then double check the angle. And it's gorgeous. Okay, now it's time to start looking at pieces for the test subject. So what I'm going to do here is with this only piece that's cut to length, I'm going to set up for this first 45-degree cut. And so I'm setting my blade just on the line. And then I'm going to put a stop block in place. Okay, and rechecking. Okay, it's going to hit fine. So now it's just a matter of cutting the thing out. So I'll just zoom out a little bit here. And so there's my piece with two 45-degree ends. And if I measure it with my square here, I find it is still exactly 4 inches long. So now I can cut my other 3 edges. And as you see here, I'm not cutting the cutting it as a 4-inch piece. And there we go. There's my 4 pieces, all the same length, cut out to 4 inches long. Now it's a matter of gluing them up. Okay, here's my 4 test pieces, all cut out, ready to go. Something I didn't show you right after I finished cutting them out is verification that I did have 45 degrees. And of course, I checked that on the blade before I ever started cutting. Made sure my 45 degrees was true. And these guys came out absolutely perfect, as one would hope. So, happy with that. So now, like I said, it's a matter of getting them glued up together. Now, I have found when doing miter joints, the easiest way to get them glued up is to lay out a piece of painter's tape. And just lay them end to end to start. And you get them just butted right up against each other. You want to make sure that the ends are squared together there. Don't worry about lining them up with the tape. Line them up with the ends. Which I didn't well. There we go. Now I would take my brush with glue and glue each of the joints. That's just a matter of rolling them up. Of course, I may have had a little bit too much on this end, so I'm going to tear that a little bit off. You want to make sure you got your corners lined up on the last one and tape it on over. Okay, at this point you can look down, you can see if your joints are nice and even, which they should be, even and flat. You've got a chance now to clean up any glue that may be squishing out. And then what I do, even though it can probably cure up nicely like this, that's when I add the corner clamps that we made in the previous video. Lost one of my retainers on this one. That's okay. So get those clamps situated, get them in place. And then pull them up tight. And these will put equal pressure on each corner. And then you leave it for the cure time of your glue and you're set to go. It's as easy as that. Now, for small boxes, these little corner clamps are wonderful things. For larger boxes, I got larger ones that I bought at not Home Depot. What's my favorite store? Harbor Freight. It's a ratchet mechanism with corner clamps, and it will spread out. It would clamp up this table I'm working at. So that's for the big boxes. And there we have it. Miter joints made easy. On top of that, we now also have box joints down. We have the tongue and dado down, or tongue and rabbit down. So I guess we're ready to start making boxes. So next video is going to be the start of a box project. Real life boxes, top to bottom and sides. So until then, you all keep up the good fight, and I'll see you. Bye.